Hey folks, it is Friday, July 28th. The time is 1:30 p.m. and it's about 27 degrees Celsius here in the city of Vaughan, Ontario, Canada. I don't know why I added the Ontario, Canada part, but this is Yonge Street, and over there on the east side of Yonge Street is the city of Markham, and north of here is the city of Richmond Hill, and I'm in an area known as Thornhill. And for this one, I'll be hopping on the e-bike and riding south all the way down Yonge Street to Lake Ontario, and that'll take me from the north end of Toronto at Yonge and Steeles, which is just a few blocks south of here, all the way to the most southern point, at least not including the islands or the Portlands, so the most southern point on Yonge Street. And I think this ride will be about 20 kilometers or so. And I've got with me the Move-In Pulse. I just got this e-bike back yesterday and I did a live stream on it, and I wanted to get out and record a video, so here we are. Time to get moving on the Move-In. So this is south down the west side of Yonge Street. I tried to do this ride a few weeks ago on my other e-bike, and one of my brakes gave way while I was recording, and the bike was making kind of a loud squeaky noise. So I called that one quits around Midtown, and I decided to try again today. And I just rode up here from my home in Midtown. And traffic was a little bit hairy around the 401 and into Willowdale. So this is Steeles Avenue coming up. And once I'm south of Steeles, we'll be in the city of Toronto. And on the right is Centrepoint Mall. But welcome to Toronto. And that mall, we'll see its days numbered, or I guess they already are, because there's a plan to redevelop it into an extensive condo community. I'll probably come up and record it one last time before it closes for good. And one thing I noticed riding north up here was this stretch of Yonge Street was pothole city, at least in the other direction. It's a good thing I have this suspension and these fat tires. So this is a part of town called Newtonbrook. And you will see those blue York Region Transit buses mixing in with the red TTC buses. The York Region buses are heading south to Finch Station. Look at this. All right, for some reason, Imagine Dragons is playing out of my phone, which is in my pocket, and that band is not on any of my playlists. What was that all about? Oh, YouTube was open. Sorry about that little detour. But there are plans in place to extend the subway north of Finch. So there'll be ideally 2 more stops in Toronto, one just south of here in Newtonbrook and another one at Yonge and Steeles. But for the time being, I think this, what is going on with my YouTube? There are some ghost touches going on in my pocket. I don't know if you guys heard that, but I think this stretch between Steeles and Finch probably sees the most buses on it anywhere in the city. Maybe a stretch of Eglinton East, just east of Yonge Street, would be a good candidate for that. And this is an area I dubbed the Currency Exchange District in a previous video. I don't know if you can see in these plazas, but there are dozens of them. Mercedes not using a turn signal? What's new? I had several near misses on my way up. Oh, there's a disabled car in the center lane there. This is Drury on the right, Cumber on the left, and I believe this is where one of the subway stations would go in. I don't think this one is approved. It's on the drawing board. It would be quite stupid to extend the line north of Finch but not put a station here. In fact, there's a lot of concern over that subway line because it's going to go all the way north up to Richmond Hill. And for people in the city commuting during rush hour going south, particularly around Eglinton Station, those trains are already full as it is. I used to commute south and there would be train after train you could barely fit on, and that's just going to get a whole lot worse if they don't increase frequency or start inserting empty trains more south down the line. And on the left is a GO Bus and York Region Transit Terminal. And those pink buildings on the right are the North American Center. I worked in those buildings, or in this one here, for a year. This is Hendon Avenue. You can access the Toronto Hydro Fields by making a right here. And just in on the left behind these plazas is Finch Subway Station, and this is Finch Avenue coming up. So we'll be entering Willowdale, an area sometimes referred to as Toronto's second Koreatown or Koreatown North. There's a strong Asian Canadian presence along this stretch of Yonge coming up. And there are also plans to put in permanent bike lanes and reduce traffic one lane in each direction and widen the sidewalks. And just generally make it a much safer and more livable neighborhood. I don't think those plans are finalized yet, but they are approved. I think in 2026 we'll start to see some construction. I did a night walk through this area a few weeks ago, you can find on the channel. There's the 97 bus. And this is Churchill Avenue. And I am glad I'm on the e-bike. If I was on the single speed, I'd be sweating up a storm. There's no way I would have rode north to where I started this and then been able to pull this right off, especially with Hogs Hill coming up. Once I'm south of Yonge and Davisville, there'll be a bike lane down to Bloor Street. And back before amalgamation, this was its own city, North York. And the mayor, Mel Lastman, became the first mayor of the megacity of Toronto. And the old North York City Hall is just up here on the right. Most people know that area as Mel Lastman Square. You can see with all this street parking how desperately needed a separated and protected bike lane is needed. I'm a firm believer that bikes, pedestrians, and vehicles need to stay separated from one another and out of conflict as much as possible. Oh, there's a number of flags here. There's often protests and memorials in this spot, but this is North York City Centre. This is also where there's a subway station, one that was built after the line was extended up to Finch. That's North York Boulevard. So the next major street south of here will be Shepherd. Don't tell me this is turning right. What are you doing, Beamer? Oh, now it puts a turn signal on. I would bet the farm there's a correlation between luxury cars and a lack of signaling versus the rest of the vehicles on the road. And we are at Elmhurst, 1 block north of Yonge and Sheppard. That's where we'll find Sheppard Yonge Station, as well as the western terminus of Line 4, a 5-stop partially built subway line. Back in the 90s, the subway line along Line 4 Sheppard here was approved to go all the way to Scarborough Center. There was also an Eglinton West subway line that was approved, and it was actually under construction. But then we had a rather disastrous premier elected, Mike Harris, and he canceled both projects. And Mel Lastman kind of pleaded with him to get this Sheppard line done. Really, he should have been trying to get the Eglinton line built. That would have been far more useful of the two, but being the former North York mayor, this was his pet project. And we ended up with a small little stump of a subway line that easily could have been just a BRT instead between here and Fairview Mall. I'm gonna have to be careful with this truck. It is probably going to merge onto the 401. Over to this lane so I'm not in conflict with vehicles crossing over to merge onto North America's busiest highway. And that's what's causing this little logjam of traffic. And this is why, as great as this area is, Willowdale, and as much as it has to offer in terms of things to do and see and restaurants, I don't think it's a very livable community from an urbanist point of view. It's still very car-centric, even though it's right on a subway line. That wasn't so bad. I've been through there before where it's gotten pretty dicey in the past. There's some pedestrians taking the sidewalk on the right side. I always end up on the left side whenever I walk through here. And that takes you on quite a detour. There's a big city-run golf course just in on the right coming up. And I can see the CN Tower off in the distance. Way off in the distance. I doubt the camera can pick it up, but I can also see the Midtown skyline around Yonge and Eglinton. The entrance to the Don Valley Golf Course. We just went by, and on the right is the Yonge Corporate Center, and I used to work there. Right before the pandemic kicked in, I switched to a company there. And then not too long after, I quit. This is Wilson Avenue on the right. And this is where we'll find York Mill Station, and on the left is York Mills. And the rather fancy Hogs Hollow neighborhood. And coming up is a big hill. That is a bugger to climb on a regular bike, but it should be a piece of cake on this thing. That'll take us up into the Yonge Lawrence neighborhood. As I pass over the West Don River. And that makes its way up through Earl Bales Park. And here comes that big hill. It's not uncommon to see cyclists pushing their bikes up this stretch. This bike is pulling up it effortlessly. I'm going over 30 kilometers, or km/h. And this is the intersection of Yonge and Yonge coming up, Yonge Street and Yonge Boulevard. And the video I posted this morning finished up in this neighborhood. This is Fairlawn Avenue. I think that might have been a diesel roaring by. This next major intersection coming up is Yonge and Lawrence, and that's where we'll find Lawrence subway station. That was necessary. And the George H. Locke Library branch on the southeast corner over there, and on the southwest corner straight ahead there used to be a very busy Starbucks. And this sounds like an Indy car. I just made a crazy motion with his finger to his ear. I don't mind that. It sounds kind of cool. What I do mind is when assholes ride their bike that loud on residential streets or even any streets at night. Or when people enter intersections that they're never going to clear and they get stuck in them like that. Now it's south towards Yonge and Eglinton. On the left is the Lawrence Park neighborhood, one of the wealthiest in the city. And the Chatsworth Ravine is just over to the right. A Slayer Burger smart car. welcome to my neighborhood. I've lived here for about 8 or 9 years. Although when I'm not recording, I seldom come up to this part. There's some more fantastic driving. If I do, usually it's just to pick up some takeout food. In this patio, it's for Cibo, an Italian restaurant. I can't imagine too many people wanting to eat out with that jackhammering sound going on, or whatever that thing is. Well, I guess that's not a jackhammer, but it's loud. I ate at that Cibo maybe about 3 weeks ago. They've got a very solid mushroom pizza. Now we enter an area I like to call the jungle, surrounding the intersection of Yonge and Eglinton. It has been a perpetual shit show, thanks to our friends at Metrolinx, for as long as I can remember. There's the Rosencrown on the left. The Crosstown LRT boondoggle is way over budget and way past its original due date. They built this thing that splits Yonge Street into two. I have no idea what this is. And I imagine traffic will funnel around it. So this is the intersection of Yonge and Eglinton coming up. That's where we'll find Eglinton subway station. There's some people peddling Bibles on the left. I never see anyone stopping to talk to those people. But they're always well dressed and just kind of standing out there baking in the sun all day. The old Canada Square movie theater is on the right. That closed during the pandemic. There's Mandarin Buffet. And the Canadian Tire headquarters and TV Ontario on the right. Oh, but things should be much smoother sailing. What? Smoother sailing? Smoother sailing. Oh. It's one of the disadvantages when you do all your recordings in real time like this. You don't have the luxury of editing out your mistakes and doing another take. But it should be much smoother sailing from here on, at least until we get to Bloor. This is the Yonge and Davisville area now. There's one of the best patios in Midtown. Might not be one of the best restaurants. It's also on the better side of the street because you're not directly baking in the sun. kind of like all the patios on Danforth, I think, late in the afternoon. The ones on the north side of the street have an advantage over the ones on the south side that are in direct line of fire from the sun. And this is Chaplin Crescent on the right, Davisville Avenue on the left. And this is Davisville Subway Station. Why they didn't call it Chaplin Subway Station, I'll never know, or Davis Chaplin. Either way, that's where the TTC headquarters are located. And there's a big rail yard outside, just here on the right. And it looks like there's a southbound train just up ahead. I just would have missed making its way over to St. Clair Station. It was one of those I easily could have just gone. This is Merton Street, and that's the K. Gardner Beltline Rail just above. That used to be a commuter rail track. Line. No luck, we didn't get to see any trains go by. But next up is Yonge and St. Clair and St. Clair Subway Station. It's a few blocks south of here. This is Heath Street West. And this is St. Clair. That looked like she was about to step in front of the bike lane. There's someone else who looked like she was going to do just that. You got to be on your guard. There's often people just aimlessly wandering in front of the bike lane or into the bike lane, and people popping open doors when they park on the side here, or hopping out of their car and just jumping right into the bike lane. This is Woodlawn Avenue. And you can see that Yorkville skyline straight ahead around Yonge and Bloor. There's the old North Toronto Rail Station, which is now the Summerhill LCBO, and just in on the left here on Shaftesbury Avenue is Summerhill Subway Station. This is Marlborough Avenue. That's one way to beat a red light, I guess. Good job all around Toronto drivers on that one. And just in on the left is Rosedale Station. Oh. A wave to that driver for actually paying attention. And Ramsden Park on the right. Davenport Road on the right coming up, and the northern terminus to Church Street just on the left. It's a north-south street, but it curls up and ends here at Yonge Street. There's a large group of people on the sidewalk up there on the left. I wonder what that's all about. Waiting in front of Toronto's Islamic Center and Community Services. Yeah, Chrysler Sebring convertible. Used to see a lot of those. You don't see so many anymore. Big crowd of people. And now the downtown portion of the ride is about to begin. This is Yonge and Bloor, where you'll find Bloor-Yonge subway station. And kind of tragically, the bike lane ends here. You think of all the places it would be most needed, it would be through downtown, but nope. We only got them in Midtown. There are plans for a bike lane to go in south of here, I think south of College. But for reasons unknown, the city didn't build it all the way through. It really should go from the lake all the way up to Steeles. There's a double-decker City Scene bus. This is Wellesley Street, where we'll find Wellesley subway station just in on the left. I always feel like I'm starring in Mad Max when I tried to ride down this part of Yonge Street. These roads are in terrible shape. And College Station is just up ahead here at College Street. Or you could turn left on Carlton and make your way past Maple Leaf Gardens and the Allen Gardens and head over into Cabbagetown. And College Park is just on the right. They're installing elevator access to one of the streetcar platforms. And when that one's done, they're going to get to do it all over again to the next streetcar platform. So I think that section of Yonge Street is going to be a construction mess for at least the next 6 or 7 years, unfortunately. That's just the way things go in this city. And there is where a very exciting skyscraper is going up, Concord Sky. I wish the Big Slice would return to the base of it once it goes up. That was an excellent pizza place, but it's cool to see. I think this was formerly the YSL condos that the previous developer went belly up, and Concord came in and took over the project. I think that'll be either 85 or 95 stories. Residential stories, which aren't at all the same as commercial stories. And coming up is Yonge and Dundas. The Eaton Center will be on the right, Dundas Square will be on the left. And there's an event going on at Dundas Square. I'm just Fred Flintstoning my way through this scramble crossing. This is Shooter Street. She was holding up a sign that said Tour Toronto on it. This is Queen Street. Which is closed on both sides. On the right is the financial district. And Adelaide Street. Oh, there's a massive pothole. And King Street. That's where we'll find King Station. Just pushing my baby stroller in front of traffic across the street. Why not? And we are at Wellington Street. This is Front Street and the Hockey Hall of Fame coming up on the right. And just on the right is where the old GO bus terminal used to be. Home to the, or future home to the third building in the CIBC Square complex as a westbound GO train rolls by, heading into Union Station. Underneath the rail corridor, so we are getting pretty close to the lake. This is Lakeshore Boulevard. This is Harbor Street on the left. One of the two tallest buildings in the country has started to rise, or what will be. I think it's unknown if this one or the one I went by earlier, Warren Bloor West, will be taller. They both have Height increase application submitted to the city. And I can see the lake up ahead. This is Queens Quay. I'm gonna get off and walk the bike from here on. There we go. That was all of Yonge Street. Starting from the city of Vaughan, all of Yonge Street through Toronto from the north end, heading south from Steeles all the way to where it terminates at Lake Ontario. Those are the Toronto Islands off in the distance. So let me know your thoughts and comments down below. If you wish to support the channel, there's links to my Patreon and YouTube channel membership in the description. I have an Instagram account at Johnny Strides. And there is a super thanks button appearing below the videos if you wish to say thanks that way. Anywho, thank you for watching, and I will catch you on the next one. Yoink.